617 arrests, 23 domestic field divisions, 7 foreign regions, all coordinated, all executed in 1 week. This is the story of how the Drug Enforcement Administration launched the largest coordinated surge against the Sinaloa Cartel in agency history, and what those 5 days in August 2025 revealed about how deeply this network had embedded itself across America and beyond. The Sinaloa Cartel does not operate like a traditional criminal organization. There is no central headquarters in the United States, and there is no single distribution point. Instead, they function as a network, a web of hundreds of independent cells. Each cell handles a different part of the operation: manufacturing in one location, transportation in another, distribution across dozens of cities, and money laundering through legitimate businesses. All of it is connected and coordinated, but deliberately separated to avoid total collapse if one node is disrupted. That structure makes them resilient. Take down one dealer and another replaces them. Seize one shipment and 3 others get through. Arrest one distributor and the network adapts. For years, law enforcement struggled against this decentralized model. Individual arrests made headlines, but they barely dented operations. But the Drug Enforcement Administration was building something different. Not a single investigation, not a regional task force. A nationwide intelligence operation that mapped the entire network. Every cell, every connection, every distribution point across America, and by summer 2025 they had what they needed. August 25th, Monday morning. Across 23 domestic DEA field divisions from the East Coast to the West Coast, from the northern border to the southern border, federal agents mobilized. This was not business as usual. This was a coordinated surge, designed to hit every identified node simultaneously. No warnings, no leaks. Total synchronization. The operation spanned beyond United States borders. 7 foreign regions participated: Mexico, Central America, South America. International partners coordinated timing. When United States agents moved, so did their counterparts abroad. The goal was simple: squeeze the entire network at once. The first wave hit distribution cells in major cities. These were not street dealers. These were mid-level operators who received bulk shipments and broke them down for local distribution. Apartments, warehouses, businesses serving as fronts. Federal agents executed search warrants, suspects were detained, evidence was secured. But this was only the first number. The surge was just beginning. As evidence was processed from those initial raids, the scale became clear. Agents were not just finding small amounts for personal distribution. They were finding stockpiles, kilograms, thousands of pills, cash counting machines, firearms, everything needed to run major distribution operations. In one location, agents discovered 420 firearms, not handguns for personal protection, high-powered weapons, rifles, the kind of arsenal that suggests enforcement capability, the ability to protect territory through force, all connected to Sinaloa operations. The currency seizures climbed rapidly. $11,111,483 in stacks of bills, hidden in walls, buried in storage units, kept in safety deposit boxes under fake names, drug profits that had not yet been laundered back into the system. And that is when the pattern showed itself. These were not independent operators. Every location shared common elements, similar packaging methods, identical communication protocols, standardized pricing structures. This was not case, this was organization, and the surge was exposing just how structured the network truly was. Tuesday. The raids continued. By now, over 200 people were in custody. Agents kept executing warrants because the intelligence was good, and every location was producing evidence that validated the targeting. The drug seizures were staggering. 480 kilograms of fentanyl powder was seized. To put that in perspective, 2 milligrams of fentanyl can cause a fatal outcome. 480 kilograms is 480 million milligrams. That represents hundreds of millions of potentially harmful doses, all seized before reaching distribution. But what they seized next is what made this a record-setting week. 714,707 counterfeit pills were recovered. These pills were pressed to look like legitimate prescription medication, and each one was laced with controlled substances. They were ready to be sold to people who believed they were getting pharmacy products. All of it intercepted. Wednesday. The surge expanded to financial operations. Money launderers converted drug profits into seemingly legitimate assets through real estate purchases, car dealerships, restaurants, and businesses that appeared normal but existed primarily to clean cartel money. Federal agents froze accounts and seized properties, disrupting the financial infrastructure that made the whole operation profitable. Assets totaling $1,697,313 were seized. Properties, vehicles, business holdings, everything purchased with drug money, all of it now in federal custody. The financial blow was as significant as the drug seizures. By Thursday, the operation had expanded internationally. Mexican authorities executed coordinated raids on supply-side operations, targeting manufacturing facilities, chemical suppliers, and logistics coordinators who managed cross-border transportation. The pressure was coming from both directions. Supply and demand were disrupted simultaneously. The methamphetamine seizures alone totaled 2,209 kilograms. Industrial quantities, the kind of volume that supplies entire regions, gone, locked in evidence facilities and unable to reach the market. Friday, the final day of the surge. Agents were still processing evidence from earlier raids. They were still executing warrants on targets identified through intelligence gathered during the week. The operation was not winding down, it was compounding. Cocaine seizures reached 7,469 kilograms. Heroin totals hit 16.55 kilograms. Every category of controlled substance the Sinaloa network trafficked was being seized in massive quantities. When the week ended and final tallies were compiled, the numbers were historic. 617 people were arrested, across 23 domestic field divisions and 7 foreign regions, all connected to the same network, all part of the same operation. But here's the part most people miss. This was not just about quantity, this was about revelation. The surge exposed how the network actually functions, how cells coordinate despite being geographically separated, how money flows from street sales back to international suppliers, how weapons are distributed to enforcement arms, how counterfeit pills are manufactured and dispersed. Every arrested individual represented a node in the network. Every seized phone contained communications with other nodes. Every financial record showed connections to legitimate businesses serving as fronts. The intelligence gathered during this 1 week will fuel investigations for years. DEA Administrator Terrence Cole made the strategy clear. These results demonstrate the full weight of the DEA's commitment to protecting the American people. The agency will not relent until the Sinaloa cartel is dismantled from top to bottom. For communities across America, the impact was immediate. Dealers who relied on Sinaloa supply chains suddenly had no product. Distribution networks that moved drugs through their neighborhoods were severed. The pills that would have been sold outside schools and in parking lots never arrived. The cartel's biggest advantage is speed. They adapt quickly. They replace arrested members, they shift routes, and they find new distribution points. The surge was designed to take that away. By hitting 617 nodes simultaneously, the network could not adapt fast enough. No time to warn others, no opportunity to hide evidence, no chance to flee. For the 617 individuals in custody, prosecution is inevitable. The evidence is overwhelming. Physical drugs seized, firearms recovered, financial records documented, communications intercepted. Federal prosecutors have everything needed for convictions. The operation continues. Federal agents are still tracking Sinaloa operations, still building cases, still preparing for future surges. Because while 617 arrests is historic, the network is larger, more nodes exist, more distribution cells operate. The fight is ongoing. But August 2025 proved something critical. Coordinated action works. When intelligence is shared across field divisions, when international partners synchronize operations, when the full weight of federal resources aligns, the network can be disrupted on a scale that matters. The surge revealed vulnerabilities, showed where the network concentrates operations, exposed communication methods, documented financial flows. All of that intelligence feeds future operations, makes the next surge more effective, tightens the noose further. For the Sinaloa cartel, this was a catastrophic week. 617 members arrested, millions in drugs and money seized, 420 firearms confiscated, distribution infrastructure across 23 states disrupted, and the message is clear. The Drug Enforcement Administration is watching, coordinating, and when they move everywhere at once. If you think surges like this should happen more often, hit the like button now. Subscribe to Justice Chronicles for stories of coordinated law enforcement victories protecting American communities. Comment Justice if you support the agents who executed this historic operation. Because while cartels build networks, federal task forces are mapping them, tracking them, and dismantling them one massive surge at a time.